For decades, the central anxiety of global energy politics was oil. Which countries controlled the fields? Which pipelines crossed which borders? The entire architecture of 20th century alliances, conflicts, and foreign policy was shaped, in significant part, by the geography of petroleum. Then came the green energy transition. The world would shift from fossil fuels to renewable energy, and with that shift would come a new era of energy independence. That story was wrong. Not about the transition itself. The transition is real. It was wrong about what the transition would mean for resource dependence. The green energy transition did not end resource geopolitics. It relocated it. And the country that understood this earliest and moved most decisively was China. Lithium is the critical input for lithium-ion battery technology. The International Energy Agency projects that lithium demand will increase by more than 400% before 2040. Approximately 56% of the world's known lithium reserves are concentrated in 3 countries: Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile. This region is called the Lithium Triangle. There is no comparable concentration of this mineral anywhere else on Earth. Australia is currently the world's largest producer of lithium by volume. By a conventional measure of resource power, Australia should be dominant. It is not, because the lithium Australia mines is shipped to China for processing. China processes approximately 60 to 65% of the world's lithium. Control of processing is more strategically significant than control of extraction. China learned this lesson first from rare earth elements, controlling approximately 85% of global rare earth processing capacity. Lithium is following the same structural pattern. If you want the full analytical framework, it is built out in The Elements of Power, Book 2 of the Geopolitics of Critical Materials series. Link in the description. China's approach to the Lithium Triangle has been systematic and patient. Chinese state-backed companies moved into all 3 Lithium Triangle countries with capital commitments that local governments found difficult to refuse. Companies including CATL, Tianqi Lithium, Ganfeng Lithium, and CITIC have secured mining rights and equity stakes representing billions in committed capital. China was not simply trying to buy lithium. It was trying to embed itself deeply enough that alternative partnerships would become economically disruptive. Dependency, once built into infrastructure, is difficult to reverse. The complete geographic picture is covered in The Mineral Map, Book 1 of the Geopolitics of Critical Materials series. Link in the description. The United States and European Union recognized the strategic dimension late, but the response was substantial. The Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 offered tax credits for electric vehicles contingent on sourcing battery minerals from the U.S. or free trade partners. The EU Critical Raw Materials Act set targets for domestic extraction and processing. But processing infrastructure cannot be built overnight. The United States does not currently possess meaningful lithium processing capacity. Meanwhile, demand is growing now. Every electric vehicle sold today likely contains a battery processed through Chinese industrial infrastructure. Why governments consistently fail to close this gap is the subject of The Mineral State, Book 3 of this series. Link in the description. Step back from the specific transactions and the larger pattern becomes visible. The green energy transition has not produced energy independence. It has produced a new form of energy dependence running through different minerals, but following the same structural logic that governed oil dependence. The central actor is China, not because it was the natural inheritor, but because it recognized the strategic opportunity earlier and moved decisively. The gap between strategic intent and industrial reality is where China's current leverage sits. Closing that gap is the defining industrial policy challenge for every major economy staking its future on battery technology. If the analysis in this video is the kind of thinking you want more of, this channel publishes new work every week on how international power operates. For those who want to go substantially deeper, I have written a 3-book analytical series, The Geopolitics of Critical Materials by Evander Knoxley. The mineral map is the entry point, available in Kindle for $5.99. The Elements of Power builds the full analytical framework on how mineral dependencies shape defense systems and great power competition. The Mineral State asks the harder question, not what are the strategies, but why do they fail? The concept of the execution gap explains why governments with genuine political will still consistently fall short of their own commitments. All 3 books are linked in the description below. Subscribe for weekly geopolitical analysis. The next video examines how China's dominance over rare earth elements became a geopolitical weapon.